Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another Flick Fix with Ann Laker here on WQRT 99.1 FMLP. We are broadcasting from beautiful Garfield Park. And in the studio today are two people that I adore. They are both creatives. They are my fellow foragers and my fellow swap meet attendees, which is where the idea was hatched to talk about the movie we're talking about today, which is Sorry Baby. And I am joined by the illustrious Rachel Leigh and the illustrious Megan Hart. Hello.
Hello. So nice to be here with you.
So this movie popped up in our conversation. What was the biggest mind explosion? What made you say, I want to talk about this?
Well, I don't see very many movies very often. And when I do, they do tend to be like quiet, independent films. And I like to kind of marinate my brain in them for a few weeks before I even consider watching another movie. And this one was just marinating really nicely, and I was wanting more people to talk about it with, especially women, because I saw it with a guy friend.
Yeah.
Megan?
I had a baby 5 months ago, so this was my first foray back into a movie theater, and it was a friend had invited me who actually ended up not going. And so anyway, I had heard kind of the topics that were in the movie, and I had a little trepidation about like going from my first movie into something really heavy or dark or sad. So it was really interesting to me to see the way that such a serious subject matter in this movie could be such an interesting, funny, just like complex tone that left me really intrigued and not feeling heavy at the end of it.
Oh, that's really well said. And I saw this movie because you both saw it, and I was inspired. So it was written, directed, and starring a person named Eva Victor, who I don't know that any of us knew before this. It premiered at Sundance this year and was, I think, kind of like people were kind of fighting over who got to have it to distribute it. And the A24 people won out. And so it's been playing at the Can for a while, which is a good sign. And just in brief, I think it's about a smart, witty woman who experiences something harrowing and that obviously derails her life, but then it's kind of a then what? Then what? What do we do with this experience?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you respond to this character? Her name is Agnes, by the way. Did your impression of Agnes change over the course of the film, or were you always like, Agnes, I can relate to you immediately, or?
Well, one thing that I really loved about Agnes is her friendship with Liddy is like a very big center point of the movie, and the kind of directness of questions that she would ask Liddy, the like way that she communicated, where she finds out Liddy's gonna have a baby and she's like, are you scared? Or there are other moments when she asks these like very pointed, direct questions, the kind of questions that I kind of wish somebody would sometimes ask me. And there's something about that. She just had like a really like clear and open way, and also her fashion, kind of Eddie Bauer chic, was just really I really loved how she looked. She just looked so cozy and smart.
Oh my gosh, I love that you said that. And the film is set in New England, and it's very cold and bleak looking outdoors, and she's got her like super baggy sweatshirts, and that's her uniform.
Yeah.
Yes, Rachel?
I remember thinking as the movie finished that Agnes is the character from whom I'd want to hear any hard truths about life. I found myself really receptive to her way of communicating, and I thought that was just brilliant, the way she talks. And I wish that I had that same lack of filter to just go through the world being incredibly honest with people and letting the chips kind of fall where they may.
Yes, I think I read that Eva Victor was doing some stand-up comedy, which I think would be another great venue for this kind of punchy, one-liners that are kind of gonna take people by surprise. And I also was like thinking about the script of this film and like would it look like on paper. It'd be very brief and very, very funny.
Yeah, I think she had a YouTube videos, like comedy YouTube videos that were her first, I don't know, intro to into the public, and I'm really curious to go and watch those. Those are more comedic, I guess. So I'm curious to see what those are in lieu of this film.
Yeah, me too. So, without further ado, what happens to Agnes?
Well, I like how you said that this film was the plot was approached obliquely. I think that's also represented in the ways the camera shots are often quite far away from what's happening. It's a little bit like a play, maybe, in that way. Did you want me to outline some plot stuff?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So Agnes and Liddy are about to turn in their theses for some graduate degree program. And they have a really warm advisor, and you can see that Agnes is warming up to this advisor, in particular, that they have a nice rapport, and she's just feeling really supported by him. And then he sets things up such that he is able to make a move on her, and we find out later, without seeing anything, that she made it pretty clear that she did not want sex with him. But she got it anyway, and she comes home to Liddy and receives a lot of support and empathy right away. And then they go out in the world and try to get support and empathy from professionals who might be able to do something about it. And that's where Agnes begins to get really let down. Mm-hmm. And this film is structured with flashbacks and in spaces of years. Each year is given a name, and so we spend time with Agnes 4 years after the event, 1 year after, 2 years after, and we kind of see her healing process, which is slow, I think, and quiet. And I really related to that. I've had some stressful experiences in the last 5 years that have sent me into times of incredible slowdown when I'm just what is happening next in life? What am I even capable of at this point? Agnes talks a lot about what is sometimes called in trauma science foreshortened future, where she is sometimes asked if she wants kids, and she says she can't imagine being a mother or getting older specifically. I think it's really interesting that the traumatic event happened to her just as she was about to cross this threshold of graduation. And it makes sense that she would wonder if other thresholds were going to bring so much shock and pain and be afraid of them. That said, she does get a dream job and replaces the professor who assaulted her.
She does. And I think for me, that was kind of a lesson that, you can experience trauma, but you can progress, you can be both damaged and also successful, at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I loved about her little relationship with Gavin, her neighbor. It's pretty casual. She has this kind of casual, I don't know, thing going on, relationship with a guy who lives next door. And I feel like in a lot of times when a story of sexual assault is told, it's total destruction. And this is there's big destruction that has happened, but there's also she's able to enjoy her sexuality still after it. And she has this incredible friend that she still laughs with and has a good time with. And she's going through all of the aspects of life still. And yeah, I like that.
I loved her relationship with Gavin too. I think the film really accurately portrays sex as kind of a multi-tool. It can do so many different things, and it can work so many different ways.
Oh, I love that. Sex is a multi-tool. This neighbor Gavin is played by Lucas Hedges, and he does a great job. I loved how she's going along and she's being appropriately sad and upset and confused, and then she finds a kitten, or like there's something that is actually, these good things keep happening.
Yeah.
And that's like a source of humor and irony and fun. And it's such an accurate depiction of life itself. It's usually not just one thing.
That's how I felt too about when she's having a panic attack and she has to pull over and she meets like an older gentleman. And that isn't in and of itself like lighthearted, but he like gives her a sandwich and they sit on the curb and kind of eat this sandwich. And she's having a panic attack and the gentleman seems to really understand what's going on. He says that his son has panic attacks. And so it's like, I feel like also in the way that the movie starts without telling you what happened, it's in chapters. Like you kind of have to like piece together things. There's just this like aspect of it that it's like we don't know what other people have going on in their life, and they can have unexpected things, and we should maybe approach them in a way that acknowledges that we might not understand all of the context in their life. And I really like those lighthearted moments, and then also that invitation that I think comes when you're trying to piece together Agnes's story, and then you're like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, that's happened to a great many people walking around us, and we have to piece together people's stories.
Mm-hmm. And even though this movie is so subtle and really the opposite of heavy-handed, I was going to ask you both, like, what did you learn from it? Not that it was trying to put a lesson on our head, but you just said you learned that, anyone could be walking around, and we need to be able to imagine what may have happened to any given person. Did you have kind of a...
Mm-hmm. Well, since I don't have firsthand experience of sexual assault, but I know a lot of people do, I appreciated that like gentle look into that experience. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I have a like pithy takeaway. Though something I was thinking about later is what the movie seems to be saying about how to help someone who's going through something really difficult. There are people who are critiqued or kind of made fun of by the movie for not being caring enough. But also Agnes speaks really movingly about the problem of people listening to her but having almost too much compassion and feeling scared for her. And she says that she would feel so much more supported if someone did not feel scared by what happened to her. So I'm like, ooh, that's an interesting tightrope possibly to walk with someone.
It is. It's like, please don't look at me like damaged goods, or please don't feel sorry for me in a way that takes away my own agency, or please don't blame the victim, even in like a subtle way, right? And that she's finding ways to go on. But just for a minute, can I go back to the year of the sandwich?
Yeah.
That man that she has a random conversation with.
Can I say,
yes.
When he's giving her the breathing instructions, that's the other part of the movie where I cried.
Really?
It feels so good to see a stranger connect with her in a way that's actually helpful.
That's right.
Especially an older man.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, for me, one of the funniest lines in the movie is when he said, he's reflecting on his own life, and he's like, I didn't know I was going to become a yam with a mouth.
I loved that.
I love that too. It's so random what they share with each other. Well, maybe it's not random. I mean, he's random, I think, but they share with each other legitimate things in the short span of time of eating a sandwich. And then I was like, is this a New England thing? I don't know if I could imagine. I'd love to imagine having that conversation with a strange older man.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's like, oh, maybe it's safe to talk to a strange older man in some cases.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say sometimes somebody that you don't know very well can be easier to talk to than somebody you do know very well, who might have scripts or ideas or just a clean slate of a person to bounce something off of. I think is kind of that you may never see again too.
So you said that was a moving piece that moved you to tears when he's helping her recover from this. What was your move to tears moment?
The ending was my move to tears moment. I think so. Liddy, her friend, she finds out, I think in the second chapter maybe, or maybe the first, that she's having a baby. And I just had a baby. And there's kind of this juxtaposition, I feel like, and maybe it's just how I was reading it or watching it, that it's like this really intense experience that Agnes is having, and then this like pure innocence of like a new baby, and how do we live in a world that has like these terrible things happen, and also this like purity and beauty and newness. And at the very end, she's with this baby and she's like kind of uncomfortable, but like, you know, talking to the baby and just kind of saying like, you know, I wish I could protect you from all of the bad things, but like bad things will happen to you and I'll like be here for you. I mean, even saying it now, I could just cry. Like imagining not just me, but like people that I love treating my daughter with that care, knowing that they are and that they will, like in a world that is so fraught and that it feels so scary to bring a child into. There's something so moving and beautiful about that, and just so true about it. It really just spoke to like exactly where I am in life and felt really relatable.
Well, like, for instance, she goes, if you ever want to kill yourself with a pencil, please call me. Basically. I'm like, okay, that's very sweet. It's a very sweet offer.
Yeah.
What did you think of this character's attitude toward her friend as having a child? You could definitely see some, like, a little bit of jealousy and maybe just like, what are you doing and why kind of thing. I thought it was, but again, she had no filter, so she could say these things and her friend could handle them.
Mm-hmm. I thought that the introduction of Lydia's partner, Fran, was pretty interesting. My first watch, I did not like Fran at all. She comes in at the very end and is kind of portrayed as a little bit prickly, and also in some ways so much like Agnes. And I could see Agnes feeling jealous that her best friend went off and found another tall, smart woman to be with.
Right. I could definitely see that too.
Or a non-binary person. Mm-hmm. But on the second watch, I found Fran actually a little bit more sympathetic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there's a line where Agnes says that, again, about having children. She's like, well, maybe if it would help keep Liddy close. Like having a baby just to keep just honey to the bee of her best friend. Right. Which I was like, oh, that's so real.
Yes. And it's like sweet to see that when Liddy comes to visit and she's pregnant, that they still are, you know, they're sleeping in the same bed. They're like on the couch, like, you know, they're just like so physically like close and intimate still with each other. And I don't know, there's a hope that both of all of these things can exist in a relationship. Yeah.
How did you feel about how Agnes just kind of negotiated the society that did not, you know, accept or support her experience? I think there's a couple scenes of that.
Well, when you were talking about like how Agnes would want people to support her, it was that the scene with the doctor who she goes to afterwards, and who takes kind of a harsh, kind of like, prickly tone with her. And Liddy is there, and the way that she ends up moving off of this stool to stand next to Agnes at like the request of the doctor to have his stool back, and she's kind of standing there like a little taller than Agnes is sitting, and she just feels like some kind of, I don't know, person there meant to protect her, and she's like, you know, please change your tone with her, just like almost a mothering figure to Agnes in that moment. Mm-hmm. Not afraid to like put down her foot on behalf of her friend. I don't know.
Yeah, that was powerful.
It was really powerful to me.
Did you have any comparisons of this film with other films that maybe have similar themes going on?
For some reason, I kept thinking about the movie Garden State. I don't feel like this movie is very similar, but there's some kind of like, it's like a new take on the like manic pixie dream girl kind of thing, like a quirky, like female lead going through kind of the mundanities of life and their kind of quirky relationships with a little bit of like this character like acting, but it's like so different, more grounded to me, more serious, but also like funnier. I don't know. There was something that kept reminding me of that movie, but very different too. It did remind me of recently a TV show, not a movie, but of Baby Reindeer. Is that what it was called? Another one where it's like somebody's, I believe, like real lived experience where they write the script and then they act their own experience back out in like in a kind of imagined recreation of it, which I think is really fascinating. It leaves me wondering, just like that TV series did, like how close is Agnes to Eva? Did she create a character, or is it herself? How close is the storyline to her actual experience? When she changed it, why would she change it? Like, you know.
Yes, and that makes me just want to read interviews with Eva Victor to find out answers like that.
It's true. Agnes does she fight back in any particular ways? There's a lot of lines where she says, "Oh, I don't want to make a fuss," in essence. She's placed in her old professor's office, which, you know, kind of triggering for her, but she's like, I don't want to tell anybody why, so I'm just dealing with it quietly.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because they have a scene where they're like back together with the people that they're in grad school with. Another thing about that when they're sitting at that dinner table, it's like there's a moment when she could fight back by like telling everybody what happened. You know, they're like, "Oh, the professor liked you best," and she decides not to do that. She like holds the hand of her friend under the table and then she leaves and excuses herself. And it kind of makes me think of like, fighting back can look different. Like, do you owe it to someone to go get him fired, or to tell to share something? I don't know. Do you owe it to, or if the thing that's like the healthiest and best for you is to keep that information private, or with people who you know will like treat that information with tenderness, is that its own kind of bravery to sit there and kind of take that and, you know, hold that? I don't know. It was an interesting choice that she didn't say, "You don't know what you're talking about." You know, she decided not to say it.
I didn't even think about this during the film, but the professor leaves of his own volition to another post at another school. And Agnes finds out later that he has a pattern of doing this. So, you know, there is that argument that, like, if you come down hard on an abuser, then you're protecting other people in the future.
She also says at one point, "I feel guilty when I don't think about it," i.e., like, forgetting herself that it happened, or then that feels like like that's a bad thing. So it's so helpful to just imagine all these different perspectives on an experience like that. And now that we can talk about it as a culture in the ways that we haven't before, then there's choices on how to talk about it, which you just described. And yet, that person might live to do that again, which is no good. But I loved how it was the backdrop of like the English department, and they were always reading like Sylvia Plath and Virginia
Lolita.
Woolf and Lolita, which I have to say, I did my thesis on Lolita too.
Really? I would love to hear more about that.
I read the
sometime.
Wikipedia plot of Lolita just to be like, is there something deep in this that will help me understand the movie better?
Well, it's another complex case of whose perspective is what, and who's got the power and who doesn't. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, did you have any comments on the soundtrack or any other kind of aesthetic choices that the director made to convey?
I loved the house that Agnes was in. I think that we were supposed to feel like a lot of loneliness, that people would kind of come and then go, and then she always remained there. But there was something still like cozy about it, in the same way that the movie could be very sad, but then also be really funny. It's like that was embodied sort of in the kind of cozy space that she was in, being like lonely, cold. She's like scared. She's checking the door, but also it's like she's protected in there. And it's where she's cozy with her friend and sleeping in the bed and snuggling. And I thought that house was really striking to me.
I was starting to think about what don't we see in this movie to kind of pinpoint its lens a little bit more. And I was like, there's no scenes with a lot of people. everything feels really remote and quiet, super small community, and like big skies, a lot of nature. It's a really spacious, kind of light, visually bright film for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I did love the soundtrack. I'm like hearing it playing in my head right now, and it's making me feel really warm. All those little like choral women's voices, and then a piano that was recorded clearly like very, very close up. You can kind of hear the mechanisms of the keys. I read somewhere that Eva, when working with the composer, said, I don't want any like over emotional strings.
Yes.
And there were none.
We all know what that feels like, and it's kind of an eye roller at this point in time when you feel a soundtrack with that going on. Yeah, I felt like I was hearing like little xylophones going on.
I don't even remember the soundtrack at all.
Okay.
But in a way that, yeah, I'm curious to go back and listen to it now.
Can I ask you what you thought of the mouse scene?
Oh,
I was a little bit confused there. I was like, why are we doing this?
I found that so powerful, and I've been thinking about it a lot.
Tell us.
Well, there seems to be a motif of Agnes finding smaller, more vulnerable beings to care for and doing that really well. And then, you know, she does that for this kitten who grows up to become a cat who kills a mouse. And of course, almost kills a mouse. And therein lies the problem, because Agnes's empathy is still so strong. And so she's like, I need to get this mouse out of its suffering. But the act of killing the mouse is so hard for her that she has kind of a full body reaction that I don't know, I thought felt really real. And I don't know what it means, but I thought it was powerful.
Well, I think you did describe what I needed to hear, which is it was about what to do with vulnerability. That's what it was.
And it really says something, I think, about Agnes and like her heart and her goodness and her good like naturedness. I don't know, something about beautiful about her.
She did have to go and get the bag that she'd hidden the triggering boots in.
Uh-huh.
Did you think about that?
No, I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
I thought of that, but I was always like, hey, if you're gonna do this, could you like do it on the floor, not your bed?
Well, that did seem. I was like,
don't do this on a bed. This is not. Anyway.
True.
Different topic. Sometimes I feel like in this dynamic, I almost want to know more about why a male character or an actual man would do what is done so frequently. Would anyone be able to or want to make a film about the why and the how and the what's going through the mind? Because we see, you know, the devastation in so many ways and so many people, and then, but what could prevent it? What do we need to understand that we don't about why this? Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I was kind of intrigued that immediately they found out that he was leaving to another university, I think, because I did catch myself being like, did he realize, like, not in any way would it have excused his behavior at all, but I wondered, you know, what did he think when she describes that he's like sitting there and he looks scared afterwards. It's like, did he lose control? Did he plan this? Did he know what he was, you know, doing, or did something, you know, unexpected to him happen as well? But then you realize, like, no, he kind of seems like he had a plan or concocted a plan to get out of there really fast. Mm-hmm. He knew, you know, in some way.
Yeah.
And then you find out also that he had sex with another one of the grad students. And so, you know, it leaves you feeling like pretty premeditated behavior, pretty self-aware behavior. And
yeah,
I think he was an interesting character too, because before that, like, they present him as a really likable and kind of gentle, good listener, just like a person that you might kind of intuitively trust. Yeah. Just a really good, just that we don't know in positive ways and in negative ways. This movie tells you don't know people until you know them, until you really know them.
Well, I don't know about you, but the power of female friendship definitely is a big theme, or I'm sorry, I should just say the power of friendship, because you feel the way that people are working so hard to support each other through just about anything. So that feels good.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorite things about this movie. I think also having just had a baby, and I'm almost 40, and I'm like, I might only know my baby until she's 40. Or, it's like that can be kind of existentially kind of like so sad. But I think, oh my gosh, what if she has like a beautiful, amazing friend like Liddy? Like, what are these people that might, populate her life who can love her so well like these, friends do? Or like some people that I've known my whole life do. That friends can become family in the way that you feel between Liddy and Agnes is just really beautiful.
It is.
I just really appreciate you bringing up the question of like what is going on for men who find themselves in this situation. And I come at it from like an asexual lens. And so I just kind of assume I can never understand what it is to be overcome with desire and like lose that. But I kind of wish I could ask maybe my guy friends who I trust, like, is there any part of you that can understand how this happened? And I wouldn't blame them at all for not wanting to talk about that, and of course wanting to distance themselves from that. But it's clearly a human thing that happens, and it's important for us to keep trying to understand and have compassion even for people who abuse.
And the power of hierarchy just in our culture, like when we set up these situations in which people have power, and they can wield that in so many ways, for good and for bad, that's just, it makes you wonder what we could do to help situations like Agnes finds herself in occur less, I guess.
And this movie helps that. I feel like this movie really has advanced the conversation on the subject, and we now get to have a more nuanced conversation, especially in the company of the two of you. Thank you for bringing your interpretations and experiences.
Oh, thank you for inviting my sleepy mom brain to come chat with you. It's so refreshing and nice.
Your brain is popping. So is yours, and our hearts too. Well, now we're going to transition to the segment of Flick Fix called
You've Never Seen?
Can you suggest a movie to me, related or unrelated to Sorry Baby, that was kind of definitive for you or memorable for you that maybe I haven't seen or our viewers, listeners haven't seen?
I'm curious if you've seen this movie. A movie that I really, really love is I Heart Huckabees.
Oh,
have you seen that?
Shame on me, I have not.
You have not. I did
it. Stars Naomi
Watts.
Yeah.
And Jude Law. And
have you seen it, Rachel?
Once, but I should remember it better given how much I know you love this movie.
Yeah, it has Lily Tomlin. I love Lily Tomlin. I can't get enough Lily Tomlin. It's like existential detectives who are taking on this. Jason Schwartzman plays the character who they're taking on his case. He's had a bunch of coincidences and he wants to kind of understand. And so he goes to them and they, Mark Wahlberg's in it as this very funny firefighter who's very concerned with climate change. It's like, and oil, and he's like, cars are bad. I don't know. There's a few things that haven't aged well, but for the most part, it's just like thinking about in a really funny and fun way, like existentialism and how everything is connected, and kind of the absurdity of capitalism, and just like so many themes that are really again, like kind of serious themes, but really in a playful, fun way.
Oh my gosh, Megan, thank you for saying that. This sounds like exactly what we need right now. Maybe I could get my husband to watch it with me tonight.
I can't wait to hear what you think about it if you watch it. There's a couple really strange scenes in there that I will be curious what you think about.
I love the cast. Okay, thank you. Okay. Rachel?
Did you see the movie Janet Planet a couple years ago?
I did. And oh my gosh, talk about a quiet reflection that was kind of brimming with so much.
That's a beautiful way to say that. I watched it and it immediately became my new favorite movie. it just, and I think it is a little bit related to the vibe of Sorry Baby, and then it's a very quiet, like nature conscious, just watching a woman, or in this case a girl, go through life and observe things. And it was so great for my nervous system. It's just a quiet gem.
It is. I feel like I can still see and feel like some of the scenes of summertime, and like there's a dance going on.
Very
and there's
summery.
Like, there's maybe fireflies, and it's like a discovery process that's almost unspoken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it portrays introverts in a beautiful light, which I think Sorry Baby does too. When I see a film like, I loved in Sorry Baby how she clearly is like such a good writer, so good at her school and then professional career, and the way her face lights up when she's doing it, when she's given a compliment about how her mind works. It's gorgeous.
And what is that thesis about? Do they say?
The art of the short story?
Okay.
But we kind of have to imagine what it was she had to say about it.
Yeah, she got to teach a class and design her own syllabus eventually, which sounds
So
like a
cool.
blast.
I'd love to take it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Ladies, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for everyone for listening to Flick Fix. We'll see you next time here on WQRT 99.1.